Major League Baseball has strict but simple guidelines regarding eligibility to enter the yearly player draft. Unlike the NFL or NBA, players can be selected out of high school and sign with a team right away. To quote MLB.com, players who have graduated high school but not attended college are eligible for the draft. Very simple concept to understand. The idea or practice of drafting players out of high school isn't new or bizarre in any way, and we often see high school players get drafted first or second overall. Jackson Holliday of the Baltimore Orioles was selected first overall in 2022 out of high school, and Bobby Witt Jr. of the Kansas City Royals was selected second overall in 2019. Bottom line, players get taken out of high school all the time, often very early in the draft, and it's unsurprising to see them blossom into stars at the major league level. So, what's the point of all this? Well, let's go back to that line from MLB.com. It states word for word, players who have graduated high school. Seems cut and dry. If a player doesn't graduate high school, he cannot enter the MLB draft. However, that raises an interesting thought. The rules there don't state an age limit or minimum number of years in high school. What happens if a player graduates at a younger age before their senior year? If you know a thing or two, you know that sort of happened with Bryce Harper. After completing his sophomore year of high school in June 2009, Harper dropped out, earned his GED that summer, and enrolled in a junior college for 1 year. Why did he do that? He did that so he would be eligible for the MLB draft in 2010 rather than 2011. If he simply stayed at high school all 4 years, he wouldn't have been able to get drafted until 2011. Although, that situation is different from what I'm referring to. Yes, Harper did get his GED only after his sophomore year at age 16, but he did attend college. Has there ever been a baseball player that got drafted who graduated or left high school early and not go to college? Yes. There has been one player that was drafted out of high school as a junior, and this is the story of who that player is, why it happened, and what the aftermath was. The player in question that got drafted as a junior in high school was former big leaguer Jeremy Bonderman. A starting pitcher, Bonderman played for 9 seasons in Major League Baseball from 2003 to 2013. He played almost entirely for the Detroit Tigers, but also spent time with the Seattle Mariners. In his career, Bonderman threw over 1,200 innings across over 200 games. He went 69 and 81 while recording an ERA of 4.91, adjusted ERA of 89, a WHIP of 1.409, struck out 7.0 batters per 9 innings, and earned 4.9 WAR. His crowning achievement has to be his performance in the 2006 postseason. In 3 starts, he allowed 7 runs in 20 and a third innings for an ERA of 3.10. That includes a clutch 8 and a third inning start in Game 4 of the American League Division Series. Bonderman's career more or less may be unassuming, but we want to look at how he got to the big leagues in the first place. Before he was ever drafted, Bonderman made a name for himself as an elite high school baseball player. As a high school sophomore, he played with the U.S. Baseball Junior National Pan American team, being just one of 2 sophomores selected. A few months later, in summer of 2000, Bonderman competed with dozens of other players for a spot on the Junior National World Team, which he made. His performance that summer impressed at least one newspaper writer who said he has the potential to be a pitching prospect. During the tournament, head coach Bill Craigie was quoted saying, "I'm sure he's going to be a first-round draft choice," even specifying he would be a top 3 pick. I might add that at the time of this tournament, Jeremy Bonderman had not even started his junior year of high school, while his competition were going into their senior years of high school, some even in their freshman year of college. The reason that was because Bonderman was 17 years old at the time, turning 18 in October of 2000. He was older because he repeated 5th grade, but all you need to know is that he would be 18 at the time he was a junior in high school. Regardless of his age, he was making headlines as a highly touted pitcher with a lot of potential and aspirations for a baseball career one day. However, the fact that he was a year older than his peers opened up an unusual opportunity. As first reported in February 2001, Jeremy Bonderman was trying to enter the MLB draft despite only being a high school junior at the time the draft would take place. According to an obscure rule, since he was 18 years old, he could become draft eligible if he were to earn his GED. For those unaware, a GED is more or less an equivalent to a high school diploma. According to the official GED website, the credential was created for marginalized adults or those who need an alternative to high school. You can think of it as a way for adults who never earned their high school diploma to earn an equivalent. What matters is that legally, a person cannot be enrolled in high school and earn a GED. So what did Jeremy Bonderman do? In the spring of 2000, Bonderman dropped out of high school for one day, earned his GED on that day, and then re-enrolled in high school so he could play on the baseball team. If that sounds crazy, just know that Bonderman didn't do it once, he did it 3 times. On his decision to do this, Bonderman was quoted saying, "I've always wanted to be a professional baseball player. That's my dream, and now it's coming true. I feel that anyone in my position would make the same decision." To reiterate again, 3 times in his junior year did he drop out of high school, but just for a single day, so he could legally earn his GED. And do you want to know something? It worked. Bonderman earned his GED, got permission from Major League Baseball to enter the draft, officially dropped out of high school for a 4th and final time following his junior year, and got selected in the first round by the Oakland Athletics, 26th overall. A high school junior didn't just get drafted, he got drafted in the first round. By the way, that pick by the A's made general manager Billy Beane so upset, he threw a chair through a wall and traded him a year later. Not relevant to the video, but I found something humorous while gathering information. When asked about potentially waiting until after his senior year to turn pro, Bonderman was quoted saying, and I kid you not, "I hate school." I didn't realize it at first, but I think me and Jeremy Bonderman have more in common than I figured. Anyway, if you thought that was it to the story, there's more. You see, Bonderman did this at legitimately the perfect timing. MLB's collective bargaining agreement expired that October, and thanks to that, did the league immediately implement a new rule regarding this. After Bonderman was drafted, the new rule put in place, unofficially dubbed the Jeremy Bonderman rule, stated that any player that earned a GED had to be out of high school for at least 1 year before being eligible for the draft. Thanks to that rule, we will never see another high school junior get drafted ever again, thereby giving Jeremy Bonderman the distinction of being the only one ever to do this. A big question that arises is, was it worth it? Did this plan work out for Bonderman in the end? Well, despite the overall stats, he did play in the big leagues for a decade. Along the way, he pitched in the World Series, led the American League in shutouts in 2004, and was a staple in the Detroit Tigers rotation for a number of years. He also made over $40 million during his career, but who's counting? One of the most unusual situations in baseball history. The one and only time a high school junior was selected in the MLB player draft.